into the pesky pole. And that's going to go down the line. That one looks like it'll stay fair. And goodbye, home run. The pesky pole.
The 2-2. Swinging a fly ball deep down the right field line, slicing by the pesky pole. And that ball hits the pesky pole, which means it's gone. A home run.
3-2 high fly down the right field line, slicing toward the pesky pole into the corner, and that ball is gone. A green can. Now on a high fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole. Is he going to tuck it inside? Indeed he does. That is gone.
Welcome to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, the Ritt, and we are finally done. Game 162 is in the books. Hulkamania ran wild today. Tanner Houck picked up the W. We end the season finally on the win. But the season isn't over for some people. Some people got that call. Some people weren't expecting the call. And our guest was one of those guys that got to go out to the Arizona Fall League. This man, I've been sitting there talking to his teammates, and they have nothing but respect and praise for him. I've been following him on Instagram and Twitter, and this guy is all business. So let's bring him in right now. Christopher Troye, what's going on, man?
Ritt, how we doing, man? Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction.
No. Thank you for coming on, man. This is crazy. How my interactions, led to me getting Kier Meredith on. We've had Alex Hoppe on, and he was all high praise about you. But getting the call. You're one of, 5 selected for the Arizona? We back now?
Yeah, I got you.
Technical difficulty early. Oh, man. But you were one of 5 selected to go to the Arizona Fall League. So what was it like to get that phone call?
Yeah, first off, man, thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Secondly, anytime my name gets brought up in a conversation with the names of Alex Hoppe and Kier Meredith, it's probably a good conversation to be a part of. So happy to be here. And thirdly, coming to the Arizona Fall League, I think there's a few more than 5 from the Red Sox. I want to say 7 or 8 guys, maybe. I think there's 5 arms that are here, including myself. But man, this is an opportunity. It was on my radar at the beginning of the year, knowing that this would be an opportunity that I could potentially earn. I'm not surprised to have gotten the Fall League invite, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
Man, I've been hearing your name by reporters like Andrew Parker, Chris Enrique, all year. You are moving up the ranks in the minor leagues fairly quickly. You're a beast in the bullpen, and I can sit there and see you continuing your trajectory next year in AAA in September for a possible call-up, because we definitely need bullpen help come late August, early September, because our bullpen gets blown up. This season it was blown up tremendously. But what are your thoughts? What is your workout regimen to continue to go into spring training after the Arizona Fall League?
Yeah, man, I'm locked in. I think the routines and the habits I've kind of established over the last couple of years in professional baseball, we're starting to see the results a little bit. So in my mind, getting selected to go to the Fall League isn't congratulations, you're going to the fall league. Time to start work. It's time to stop working. It's actually the opposite effect, which is it's only encouraged me to continue to do what I'm doing, continue to work harder, knowing that there's a potential to be a big leaguer here soon.
Yeah, being part of Portland on the second half of the season, all eyes were on you guys. You guys had some of the top talent from the Red Sox farm system on the roster. So was there any additional pressure at all? Was there any additional just you guys all working together? Was there any additives?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Anytime you're surrounded by people that work hard, have the same type of mindset and the same goals, it's a net positive. And I think environment is everything. So really fortunate. I know you said second half of the season. I think I finished. Played for 6 weeks, I want to say, in Greenville, and spent the rest of the season in Portland. Mm-hmm. I was looking at my stats over the last couple of years, and it took me 50 professional innings to get called up to AA. And and from that perspective, 50 innings of professional baseball before making it to AA, it's fairly quickly, And I think there's guys that have moved up quicker. There's guys that have moved up slower. And I think playing the comparison game is probably not the ideal route to go. I don't think it gets you very far. But I do know that, every day I'm working against myself, and it's me versus me. And I think after a lot of days of intentional work, I'll be where I need to be, where I want to be. But just going back to what I said, man, it's success is contagious, and being in that Portland clubhouse, showing up to the yard every single day with top prospects up and down in the bullpen, in the rotation, in our lineup, it only elevated my focus. It only elevated my intention with my work, and it really only elevated me as a person as well. So really grateful for the experience I had out there this year for sure.
Yeah, just to sit there, your stats from Portland, 3.77 ERA out of 24 games. You had 2 holds, 31 innings pitched. You didn't give up a homer at all. And that's stating something, because you guys went up against some great teams, some great players overall in the Eastern League. So that is crazy. And like you sit there and said, you had guys coming up, leaving. It's always, I've talked to people, it's always been a mismatch, a mix and match all year long, because you got guys moving to AAA and you got to bring guys up from single A. We had Hunter Dobbins on the day before his first game, for Portland. And he was a key person in Portland. Ever since he got moved up there, he dominated down there in Greenville. And when he came up, he's just like you. He dominated the hitters and stuff. You guys had Kyle Teal, Roman Anthony, Hickey. Nathan Hickey was, got moved up. Blaze Jordan, Marcelo Meyer, Nick York. You guys have our entire pretty much top 10 on that team. It's great to sit there and see all you guys clicking together. It's even better to see what's going to be next year at spring training. So what are some great interactions that you've had being there in Portland? Any close connections that you have made while you're there?
Yeah, I can't talk enough about the guys. I guess I'll start off by saying, Hickey and I obviously we're out here in the fall league together, but Hickey was my roommate in Greenville, and he was only there for I think 4 weeks, maybe less. And so I was pretty early on into the season, I was playing catch up with them, and we were joking a little bit about it. But it was something that just, made me focus on the work that I was doing, because I knew that, I if I perform, that I can continue to elevate in terms of minor league levels. So, the connections, the personal connections, ended up rooming with Marcelo in Portland, and became great friends. But it's crazy, man. Like, they started off as teammates in professional baseball, and we're on the grind together. We're playing mafia on the 10-hour bus rides, sleeping in hotels together. There's this element of camaraderie, brotherhood that really you can lean into as a professional baseball player and make the most of the relationships, or you can, let it beat you down a little bit, because on the flip side of that, dude, sometimes after a bad outing or even after a good one, man, you just want to go back and you just want to decompress and check out. And when you're on the road and you have a roommate in the hotel, it's tough to do that, So I think we really, really did a great job leaning into each other, learning each other's needs, what we needed based off of, how we were performing, when we're off, and just say, hey, man, you all right today? This isn't the CT that I'm used to, and I think just being in the foxhole, being in the battles with those guys on a daily basis, and really trying to work to accomplish a similar goal is something incredible. And we can't help but talk about, hey, imagine when we're in Boston together. Imagine when we're trying to play for rings, right? It's like right now we're playing to get to the big leagues, so it's a little bit different. But once you get to the big leagues, now you're playing to win some rings, and you made it to the big leagues. So now you're trying to add to the collection, and it's encouraging to daydream a little bit with those guys that you're in the trenches with day in, day out, and say, man, dude, the hotels are better in the big leagues. The foods are better in the big leagues. And it's a little bit of a running joke amongst the guys. It's like, hey, if you don't like it, play better, because I guarantee you in the big leagues, you're going to be taken care of. So I can't say enough good things about the guys, man. I really can't. And, to see Ceddanne Rafaela have the year that he started off in Double A, dude. And really, really to see somebody that I played with in Double A make it to the big leagues that year, it's kind of a reality check, And it's like I saw how quickly those things happened for him. And obviously, dude, he earned absolutely everything that he got, and I'm so happy for his success. But just a little slap on the butt, realization that this could happen to me too.
Yeah, you brought up with Nathan Hickey. I have every pitcher that we've talked to that interacted with him, nothing but good things about him. Yeah. When we had Hunter on, Hunter's like, he said it was kind of like a running joke, because when he got to Salem, Hickey was there. He moved to Greenville. Then all of a sudden, when Hunter moved up, Hickey moved up like a week later. So he said that the day he got up to Portland, he looked at Hickey, was like, "So when you leaving?" Because he's, it's just a running gag for him. Yeah. So Hoppy said the same thing. Joey Stock said the same thing. Maceo Campbell said the same thing. Hickey's an amazing guy all the way around, and from what I've heard, he's a great roommate too. Great sense of humor. So,
yeah, but he's dude. I mean, we've been having a good time out here in Arizona, working together, and honestly, to have that kind of friendship with a catcher it's beneficial, especially on the mound, because I feel like there's an element of relationship and commanding a pitching staff that he really takes advantage of. And there's a certain level of comfort that is kind of, I guess, earned that we can lean into on the mound in game type situations that make those things a little bit more fun. So he definitely knows how to keep things loose. I've got a tendency to get super tight and want to start doing too much and want to start thinking too much. But Hickey does a good job keeping me external, keeping me loose, keeping me having fun. And I know that's probably going to be pretty consistent based on everyone you talk to about him.
Towards the end of the year, we had another catcher get to come to Portland.
Yeah.
Kyle Teal. That kid, so quick. He's in Portland already, just drafted a couple months ago.
Crazy.
What is it like pitching to him? Is he as quick with the release as he is on video in real life?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know what videos you're referring to, but I do know that the dude's talented, man. I think to be drafted in July and then come August, you're already in AA. Like, there's something to it. And I think he's deserved everything he's gotten. I've enjoyed all the time that I've had with him, and we shared a dinner out in Portland together before the season ended, where I really got to learn him a little bit more and dude's a character, and I think that's what I'm coming to realize. The more that I move up, the higher that I go in the organization, right? You start to see who's uncommon amongst uncommon people, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think we're all a little bit characters in our own way. But no, dude, Till is great catcher, great hitter. He's just fun to watch play the game, dude. I love his antics in the box. He's animated. He's competitive, and I think that's contagious.
Yeah, the videos I was referring to was him throwing out people at second, like just so quick, being able to oh yeah, the pop time is just so quick.
Yeah, dude's nasty.
So let's sit there and get away from baseball a little bit. I want to know, Christopher Troye, the person. Like, what do you like to do for fun when it's not baseball? And, what do you like to do in your free time?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. And I think today, right, Sunday off day in the Fall League, I was hanging out with Wyatt Olds and Nathan Hickey in their apartment just right before I came to hop on here. We're watching football, hanging out by the pool yesterday, enjoying this Arizona sun. And I mean, it's there's a lot of things. I think for fun, I like to have a good time. I like to enjoy myself. Love grabbing good food, grabbing a good dinner, going out, checking out the area that I'm in, and really, really explore the city that I'm in. And I think that's a benefit of the travel that gets a lot of heat in minor league baseball because we do travel a lot. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that, man, it's cool to check out different places. It's cool to see what the dinner scene's like, what the restaurant scene is like. And I mean, quick side note, Portland, Maine was unreal, dude. I could not believe the kind of restaurant scene that Portland had. And mm-hmm. So when I found that out, there was a group of guys there that we would go try to check out as many restaurants as we could. But beyond grabbing good food and building those off-field relationships, obviously talk to my family a lot. I've got two younger brothers, one older sister, so keeping them up. I've got a godson, so staying in touch with them. Besides really building and maintaining those relationships, family and friends, I do some real estate investing, and I'm interested in the creator economy and digital economics, and you probably see some of that on Twitter. But yeah, I like to have a good time. I like to have a good time, and there's a number of ways that can manifest, depending on where I'm at, what city I'm in.
Well, Chris, I'm not going to sit there and tell you nutritionist. But what's your go-to cheat meal?
As soon as I got into Arizona, I knew that there was an In-N-Out from California, so big In-N-Out fan. And I ran a poll on my Instagram because Hickey had only had In-N-Out one other time, and there's a big debate in the Portland clubhouse. You know, you got Nick York, you got Marcelo, you got myself. You know, I know I'm missing a couple of others, but guys from California that, you know, we grew up on In-N-Out. And then you've got your Southern boys, Hunter Dobbins, Nathan Hickey, and they're saying In-N-Out's overrated. So as soon as we got into Arizona, man, the first stop out of the plane, I said, Hickey, we're going In-N-Out, dude. As soon as we got out the plane, went to In-N-Out. It's been 7 months since I had In-N-Out because, you know, obviously no In-N-Out on the East Coast where I was playing. So I had 2 double-doubles with onion, fries, and if Gabby is listening, that's our nutritionist. No shake, but I did have a vanilla milkshake.
So, but hey, maybe you should invest in an In-N-Out around the Boston area then. You know, but bring it to the East Coast.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, but you mentioned you know, about your a lot of the business ideas and stuff like that. I love, you know, listening to you speak, listening to your tweets and reading them about the business side. You know, always asking the fans, what do you want to see, you know, off the field? You know, what do you want to see? Because a lot of people don't understand what you guys go through in the minors to get to the big leagues, you know? We want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think excuse me. Number one, right? I think as I look at my journey, 12th rounder in 2021, senior out of Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, converted pitcher, never pitched until I got to college. I was a high school All-American catcher and got recruited a catcher. So, you know, I've always felt like I've been this underdog, right? Like the odds have been stacked against me. And that's true of everybody in professional baseball. The odds are stacked against us. Statistically speaking, we're probably not going to make it. So the first part of that, the first piece of that I'm getting to is that I'm getting at is if I could document my journey for myself, and that includes the highs, that includes the lows, that includes the plateaus. If I can go back and reflect on the journey that I've had, I think that that's going to be of tremendous value to me, my life, and my family in the future. And the reason why I think that is, it's already been a helpful practice when I'm struggling. You know, I need to go watch some highlight clips. That's easy because I can go back on my Instagram grid and be like, dude, remember those 18 innings that I had in Greenville where I was absolutely carving? I went 18 innings with like 39 punchies or something like that, something crazy with a sub-2 ERA, 9 walks. You know, like I was in a great headspace. My delivery was confident. The arm, the velo was up. The stuff was plus. And I was really, really dominant, you know. And so to go back on and use social media that way, the way that it's been intended to be used, has been a benefit for me because I can easily go look at my highlights, and then I can articulate, you know, in those down moments, like where's the head at, you know, what was I thinking, what was my general vibe, what was my general feel when things weren't going well. And I think just to be able to compare and kind of have some chronological idea of I was thinking this then, I was thinking this then I was thinking this, and this is how I was feeling. I think it's really helpful because it keeps me reverting back to the mean. You know what I mean? Like there's a baseline headspace that I've been in that I've had success in. And you always want more. You always want more. So you start trying new things. But then it's like, well, how did I get here? You know, maybe you push a little too far. Maybe you're trying to search for something that doesn't need to be searched for. maybe I'm not happy with 95 and I'm trying to throw 96, you know, and then the results and the process don't go in my favor. Okay, so let's follow that train of thought back to where I was. Let's get back there and then continue to build. You see what I'm saying? And I think the trial and error and to have that baseline that social media provides allows me to do that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but dude, it was really exciting. I like talking about this stuff because it's just it helps me with my mental, and it helps me stay focused. It helps me stay articulate what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and not just kind of passing them through the rug in one ear out the other.
Yeah, and the way you go look at baseball as a business, you know, all around, is kind of like the way that, you know, I'm building this podcasting brand.
Yeah.
To where it's a podcast, okay, but there's 5 to 1,000 Red Sox podcasts. So what do you got to do to make it different? Okay, I tried this. Okay, it works. You know, I'm looking into, like I've talked to you. I've talked to one of my good friends, Theo Denlinger. You know, I'm like, Theo, I'm like, dude, you sit there and you love to forge. I want to sit there and do a live forging, you know, so let everybody see you outside your element, you know. And he said there, goes, well, let's talk about it, you know. So, you know, just like I talked to you, I'm like, dude, I would love to be able to follow you around, you know, for a day or two, to sit there and show people like a different side of, you know, the minor league players, the major league players, stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to expand, but still stay true to the core of it. Just like, you know, you're expanding, but when all of a sudden you get too far out there, okay, let's start taking steps back to where it was solid, and then let's try again. So, you know, your model is my model, and you know, we're doing the same thing, just on 2 different sides of the field.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, Theo, I mean, he's a good dude. He's one of a kind too. You know, it goes back to saying uncommon amongst uncommon people, dude. You know, that bullpen's filled with characters. You got Luis Guerrero, Alex Hoppe, dude, Wyatt Olds, Ryan Zefferson, Theo Denlinger, Brendan Salucci, Cody Scroggins, Dylan Spakey, dude. You got some names in the bullpen that are just they make showing up to the yard fun. They really do.
Yeah, and speaking of Zefferson, I just happened to win. You know, a guy had a Zefferson autographed baseball.
Go.
You know, on Twitter, I'm like, I never win anything. You know, I ended up winning it. I'm like, sweet.
Let's go.
So,
let's go.
But you got you named a whole bunch of people from the bullpen, right? All different personalities. What's it like down there in the bullpen? You know, when you got like someone like Hunter Dobbins out there going 5 or 6 innings, you know, and you guys are just chilling out there. Well, what's it like? What do you guys do to pass the time out there?
To be honest with you, I think probably 80% of the time we are pilled on the TrackMan for both our starting pitcher or whoever's in the game pitching for us and their guys. And we're talking baseball, man. We're talking hitters. We're saying, okay, if you face this guy, lefty, you know, he just hammered the heater with Ritt up and away. Maybe we got to go in on him and then throw your stuff off of the fastball in. But just conversations like that, because, you know, every outing matters. Every pitch you throw matters. And in the grand scheme of things, like, your numbers are your numbers. And you got to take pride in them. And so I feel like if you're taking a pitch off, even when you're not physically out there pitching, if you're taking a pitch off, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed. So that's number one. The second thing is some mixture of what's going on in our personal lives. The guys with the wives, what's going on, the guys with the girlfriends and the guys that are single. You know, it's pretty funny to see how those dynamics are different based on your relationship status. But just have a good time, man, and try to keep things loose. And again, there's that balance though, right? Like keeping it loose and focused at the same time it's a pretty tough balance. But we've got a lot of veteran guys in that bullpen that kind of took me under their wing. Late in the season, we had Sterling Sharp come into the bullpen, and he was a great bullpen addition because somebody with 100 days big league service time,
Yeah.
So to have somebody to have some presence in the bullpen like that was tremendous value for us because we're picking his brain. What's the big leaguer look like? What does being a professional mean from a bullpen perspective? What are the kind of conversations that we're having out here? And it's tough to know those things if you don't know them, right? It's like you don't know what you don't know. But to have guys with those experiences and wealth of knowledge really was tremendous value to myself.
Spring training, what was it like for your first spring training experience? And you're the type of guy that always wants to learn. I picked that up off you, really quick. Were you reaching out to, people in spring training? Okay, how when I'm sitting there and doing this, how do I pick up an extra, mile per hour or get my velo up? What was your first spring training experience like, and some interactions and hand-me-downs?
Dude, spring training is a blast. You show up to the yard after off season, everyone's got the energy, they got the juice. Dude. It's baseball season, and we know it's coming. We just came out of hibernation, but no, dude, it was spring training's a different beast, man. It's a different beast, and I've had 2 spring trainings now at this point in my career, and both spring trainings I've gotten hurt. So this last spring training, I wasn't able to pitch in scrimmages and stuff. I was like 4 weeks behind everybody, still kind of building up early into the season. Excuse me. And then my first spring training in 2022, had a back injury, sent me back like 10 weeks, I think it was. So I didn't break camp our first spring. And I say all that just to say this, right? Like my health is priority number one. So when I talk about the length of a full professional season, which if you talked to me at this time last year, I didn't really know what that meant still. But I think going through my second full season and being healthy for the most part, I was on the IL for, I think it was 17 days in the middle of the season in Portland at some point. But really learning how to manage my body and manage my workload, because I'm somebody that wants to sprint a marathon. Like I want to sprint it, dude. And it's impossible to do that over a 7-month season, with especially the travel and honestly the physical demands that we put our body under. So, when it comes to spring training, for me, in my next one, my third spring training, my number one focus is going to be healthy, be in a position to perform, get reps, and continue to get better.
Okay, quick question. Let's fast forward to a theoretical what if. What would it mean to you to be called up to the Boston Red Sox and be part of the bullpen with names that were in there like Keith Folk, who was on our podcast, Papelbon, Koji Uehara, Matt Barnes, Craig Kimbrell, just to sit there and name a few? What would it mean to you personally to be out there in that bullpen, knowing the people that came before you, and how appreciative would you be?
I'd be lying if I told you I didn't think about it every single night before I closed my eyes, man. It's to be able to come running in out of the bullpen in Fenway in a high leverage situation. I've never played in front of 40,000 fans before, but especially 40,000 Boston fans, right? That's a category of its own.
Exactly.
But no, yeah, that'd be a dream come true. It'd be a dream come true. It would feel. I would probably ask myself how the hell I got here, because if I looked around and I saw Kenley Jansen and some of the names that
Curtis Martin,
dude, and to see those guys, and if I'm in the presence, I'm like, I don't deserve to be here. I don't know if I would ever feel like comfortable saying like, dude, I'm one of them. It wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be able to digest that fully. I would feel like, obviously I work hard and I earned it when I get to that point. But at the same time, there's that element of I'm a fan, dude. I don't know if you probably get the sense from me from some of my content on Twitter and some of the things I say, but there's a lot of baseball players that aren't baseball fans, and I consider myself a big baseball fan. And sometimes it's tough to separate being a baseball fan and wanting to comment on performances and stuff at the big league level. Just because a fan of me, the little kid that loves baseball is still wildly active. But again, I mean, just to finish the thought, dude, to hear my name in the same conversation as Hall of Fame arms it'd really be a dream come true.
Okay, Chris, walkout song. We've had some great ones coming from the bullpen. Papelbon's, right at the top of the list. What's your walkout song, with those 40,000 screaming Boston fans?
Yeah, dude, they got Yui Hara out there walking to Sandstorm 2 or something like that. I think it was Sandstorm, dude. His entrances were crazy. And to see Bobby, to see Fenway on their feet like that, bouncing, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you because I've had a song picked out that I have yet to use my entire pitching career because I'm saving it for the big leagues. So I guess you have to wait until I make my debut to hear my walkout.
Oh man, I can't wait because like that, the walkout song sets the tempo for the entire pitching performance.
Yeah, it does.
When Theo told me his, I never heard of it. And I went and looked it up. And he told me that he has it paced out to where he jogs out. And right when it hits really hard, that's when he throws the first warm-up pitch. And I'm listening to it, and I'm picturing it. And as soon as it hit hard, I'm like, that's deep, Theo. That's deep. So, the way that you have that thing under wraps, I can't wait. I can't wait.
You're playing every single night, dude. You can't wait for it, especially as a competitor, and especially in a high leverage situation with some Boston fans. Let's get crazy, let's get wild.
So, growing up, what were your sports teams?
I was a San Francisco Giants fan. I grew up in the Bay Area. Again, I was a catcher. Me and my dad really bonded. Really, we had a lot of bonding moments over catching and working together, and him throwing me balls in the dirt and blocking, and I'd get out of the way of it because I was scared at a young age, and he'd tell me to take the chest protector off or something like that, And there's a lot of instrumental childhood memories that I have catching, and to grow up in that area as a catcher and to watch Buster Posey and the Giants go win 3 rings, as I'm growing up, I mean, it was hard not to be a fan. It was hard not to be a fan. And I think just the way Buster Posey was a class act, really handled his business, really his level of professionalism, those things I kind of drew to naturally, and I think about the career that he's had. I mean, he's an incredible baseball player. So I was always a Giants fan, and I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, but I keep referencing it because a lot of the topics we're talking about, I've got some stuff up on it already. But when I was 12 years old, I played in Cooperstown, and my dad, we flew into Boston my dad took me to Fenway to watch my first Red Sox game, and ever since then, dude, I showed up to Fenway, 12 years old, excited to go play in Cooperstown. The Red Sox were always my American League team growing up, and thank goodness I've never had to pick between the Giants and the Red Sox, so it's easy to keep them separate. But now, I mean, obviously on the other side of it, like I would probably choose the Red Sox now over the Giants, which is kind of crazy to say, considering how big of a Giants fan I was back in the day.
Yeah, it's crazy, Buster Posey, Bonds,
Damn.
like that dude. Oh man, that's to be jokingly walked in the home run derby, intentional walk. That moment, I remember that, and it was priceless. Just to see the look on Barry's face when they intentionally walked him in a home run derby. It just that era of Giants was elite. You mentioned three World Series championships. I've been alive for only 4, the Red Sox, but 4 since 2004, and that's 7 championships since 2000. It's out of 23, so it's 2 great teams that you've been a fan of all your life.
Yeah, no, I did, and I mean to get drafted by the Red Sox too. It was a pretty awesome feeling.
So, quick question: how hard was it to transition from catcher to pitcher, and how much do you miss batting?
I don't miss hitting, especially seeing the arms that I would have to face at the AA level. Dude, I don't know how they handle that much failure. I really don't. And I don't know how they hit 97 plus with the banger slider. But I do miss catching. And, my freshman year at Santa Barbara, Coach Checks, and during that conversion, it was tough, dude. I fought back. I was 18 years old, probably had a little bit bigger of an ego than I probably should have had. I was coming off a high school All-American game as a catcher, coming into campus and on a big scholarship, thinking I had it all figured out. And then to get told that he wanted me to pitch was kind of a wild turn at the time. So my freshman year, I didn't really buy in. I wasn't fully bought into this pitching thing. But now I look back at it 6 years later and couldn't be happier, man.
Okay, Chris. Last question I ask you. It's one of my favorite ones, and I can't wait to sit there and see who yours is. Hot tub time machine. Okay? You can go back into time to face any batter you want. Bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, you versus this batter. Who you picking and why?
Who's got the lowest batting average in all of MLB history?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. Give me a second here to think about it.
I've heard a wide variety of people from now, to yesteryear. So it's a tough question because you get to face. Some people want to face their idols. Others want to face just the high profile atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, give me the biggest moment possible. I mean, shoot, give me Barry Bonds. Give me more current player. Give me Aaron Judge against the Yankees in that situation, where he's a little bit of the captain right now. I mean, let's if we get to make a hypothetical, let's make it as big of a situation as we possibly can. Those are the most fun to pitch in. But no, dude, I think to face Buster Posey would be kind of crazy. That'd be kind of cool. There's a number of guys. Barry Bonds, obviously, dude rakes. I would like to face Tony Gwynn, and see. He wasn't really the generation that I grew up watching. He was a little bit older than that. But to hear guys like Tony Gwynn, Pete Rose, kind of those old school hitters that, they're just putting bat on the ball. They're not going to swing and miss. I'm a swing and miss kind of guy. I'm coming out of the bullpen. I'm trying to get whiffs. I'm trying to get you to chase a slider. I'm trying to blow you up with the heater, So maybe to see somebody like that doesn't really swing and miss too often. It would be a fun at bat. See what they do against me.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn. Oh man, I was able to watch him, and you think of mid '90s Braves pitchers, Smoltz, Glab, and Maddox. Even those three in their prime, Tony Gwynn was able to hold his own against.
So it's all a favor.
Yeah. So, but Chris, hey, I want to thank you for coming on. This is all you now, to tell everybody where they can find you at and how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Very, very active. It's my full name, Christopher Troye. Troye spelled Troye. On Twitter, it's Christoph Troye, just because Christopher's too many characters. So find one of my profiles, and I've got the link to the other, and both of them. DM me. I get a lot of DMs, so bear with me and be patient as I really try to get back to all of them. And honestly, I try to put as much effort as I can into the responses. Like, in my opinion, I feel like I'm a little bit different in that way, that I'd rather take a few days to get back to you and give you something of that I feel happy about saying to another human being, as opposed to just a little double tap reaction. But DM me, reach out. Happy to engage with you guys. Josh, man, thanks for having me on.
Hey, that's one thing that I really enjoy, going back and forth with you, because it's not hey, thanks, hey, how's it going, hey, this, that. It's an actual conversation. That's one thing that puts you different from others, and I appreciate that immensely.
Oh man, thank you.
So, guys, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you go and follow us on Twitter. Check out our episodes. Not only this one, we've got a slew of other minor league players. Devin Marrero we had on, Keith Folk we had on anywhere you sit there and watch. Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So head on over and get our merch. I'm wearing one of our latest ones, Me Casas es Su Casas. So head on over, get your merchandise right now. And like always, thanks for checking out the Pesky Podcast.